Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to this episode of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. I'm your host, Dr. Kiki Ramsey, and today we are going to be talking all about paving your own unique path to achieving your dreams. Okay, now we all got dreams that we want to achieve. Some of them are small, some of them are huge, but today our guest, y'all, he has done extraordinary. He's achieved some dreams that some people never get to. And so I'm so excited to talk to him right after this. Chris Thomas Hayes.
Hey, what's going on? That was incredible.
You're so funny.
I was like, "What's a video music?" Okay.
I got a whole production.
I was like, "Whoa!" You undersold that a lot. You're like, "We're gonna play some music. It's no big deal." Like, whoa! It's dynamic.
Hilarious. I love it. Welcome to the show, friend.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yes, I'm super excited. Okay, so y'all, Chris is, listen, first of all, me and Chris went to the same college, the same alma mater, Berea College in Berea, Kentucky. We have to pay homage.
Yes, indeed. The formative years.
Right. Berea beloved, right? And so, and we actually met more recently at homecoming when we were together. So we met during homecoming, and I thought your story was absolutely fantastic and dynamic. And I was like, I got to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, homecoming was great, and I'm glad people are connecting with what I've been doing. I like going to Berea a lot because they followed me since the jump when I started doing school shows. They were like, "We're gonna come visit you and take pictures," and I was like, "Really? Okay, cool." So
I love it. They are so supportive, right?
Right on. Yeah, absolutely.
I went there. I went there as a single mom. As a non-traditional student, and Tamazier was 3 at the time. And of course, now he's grown and doing his own thing. And I just can't imagine, not being involved in that kind of environment for learning and stuff. So
right, they really they'll pull you in. It's not just like they're not like because I transferred from a bigger college. And it was much different because they were like, we have meetings and you're part of the community and you're going to come and you're going to be there. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine.
So like, you're like, oh, okay. Wait, okay.
Oh, the love is real. Thanks, guys.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited because what we're going to be doing is talking all about your superpower. If you are joining us live here today for the show, please go ahead and drop your name and where you're tuning in from in the comments so we can give you a shout out. And if you got questions during the show, we will see if we can acknowledge you with that as well. But first, before we just dive all into this paving your unique path, tell us what your superpower is, aka your strength.
I've always thought that my strength was dreaming, which I know a lot of people would dream. But I've always thought about not just of goals, but all the stories that exist. I'm always thinking of characters that can exist. I'm thinking of weird situations and funny situations. When I was little, I would sit in my room and just talk to myself, and I record it and listen back because there was just something about making believe, and that's kind of what I've made a career out of. That, and I think my other superpower, and I say empathy, just that ability to like feel connect to people and feel their emotions and not be afraid to express your emotions.
I love that.
Yeah.
A man
those two things.
Sympathy, right?
Oh my God, I cry so much. It's just embarrassing.
Me and you can watch movies together then.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm just saying like, oh. Ooh.
And my sister be like, "Are you crying again?"
Yeah. I leave the room and my wife is like, it's so sad. I'm like, I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. Again?
My eyes are a little watery. Oh, I love that. No, the dreaming, right? It's a lost art. I think that is definitely lost, but I really I can see the connection between that and what you've made your career out of. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience so that they can know who you are and what it is that you do?
Right on. I'm Chris Thomas Hayes. I'm originally from Hartford, Connecticut, born and mainly raised there. Yep. And
Okay.
I would go back and forth between Hartford and Atlanta,
Okay.
where I ended up here. But I'm a writer. I'm a actor with a flesh actor, and I'm a Sesame Street Muppet Performer, as we call them. Some people call us Muppeteers. I'm a
Yes.
puppeteer and an actor. And so, and overall creator, just whatever I get my hands on, and whatever people allow me to do. Um,
I love it.
yeah,
Oh my God. When I heard that you were a Sesame Street puppeteer, I was like, how does one become that? Right? Like out of all like things, when you think of like acting and everything like that,
right.
automatically, and most people probably don't automatically go to that. So how did you actually even come to this?
It started in Berea, honestly. As far as like thinking about it being a serious career, because I had always been into puppets, and through teenage years, you try to mute it a little bit. You're like, all right, I can't let me hide this for a couple of years so I don't become a target. But when you get to college, those things you realize, and I think everyone who has been to college will realize, like those things that make you weird and quirky, people are like, that's cool about you. And so you start to reconnect with a lot of things. And puppetry is one of them. It was I was auditioning for stuff in the school, and just trying to find my place where I fit in as far as being an actor goes. And I knew that that was a place where, one, I felt like I had some skill, a very little skill at the time, but some skill. And two, it felt like something that um, race or age or anything like that wasn't going to hinder me, because they couldn't see me. They could only see the puppet, and they could only see the character. And
Oh,
so I felt like it was a shield and a sword, something I could do. So I grabbed onto it right out of college. I was like, I gotta find puppet theaters, and I didn't go very far. I started in Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati for two years,
okay.
doing lunchroom shows, and then transitioned down to Atlanta to do theater shows at the Center for Puppetry Arts, and then that led me to finding and falling in love with puppets on film, which is it's so different.
Wow.
It breaks your brain.
I'm fascinated, right? Because I know nothing about the world of puppetry or anything like that, but I know that you know it was probably difficult. Like, how do you even learn how to do it? Because you said in the beginning you were like not very good at it. Is there like
Yeah.
school? Like, how do you learn how to do that?
Well, ironically, there there are a couple of schools, not a ton. They're like
Okay.
two,
Okay.
and I did not know this. So
Mhm.
I started at the University of Hartford in Hartford, Connecticut, and which is in Connecticut. And I moved down to Kentucky, went to Berea, fell in love with puppetry, tried to make it and learn as best I could, only to learn that one of the best puppetry schools in the nation is UConn, back in Connecticut. And I
Oh
go,
my
what?
God.
So when I'm down here, they all ask where you from. And like, oh, I'm from Connecticut. Like, oh, you went to UConn. I'm like, no,
But I could have.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. Oh, what's so funny is my husband's from Hartford, Connecticut as
Oh
well.
wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
So we are actually going to be going up there shortly this summer for his sister's
Oh,
graduation.
that's great.
So he still has family in the area, so I'm very familiar with it as
Oh,
well.
that's
But
great.
that is so interesting. So you bypassed the whole school and then learned on. So you learned on your own, or you learned by just going to other acting schools?
It was a lot of for puppetry. It was a lot of lining up with the correct people, mentors and directors and other actors who could help you to kind of like hone a lot of the skills
Mhm.
for theater. And then when it went from theater to film, it was just like the same thing. It was restarting all over again, learning what skills are transferable, and then just like pounding the pavement with mentors and like trying to keep honing it. And it's been almost getting close to 20 years of me doing this thing, and I'm still really young as far as puppets on TV go.
Wow, no, that's really interesting. So let's get into the nitty gritty, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what obstacles did you face? Because of course, when we're out here trying to pave our own unique path for success, a lot of us, meet a lot of obstacles, and some people give up because of that.
Right.
What challenges did you face along this journey? Because you said it's been 20 years, which is, I mean, phenomenal.
It's really, yeah, no, I stop and think about all the things I've done, and I try to like count my successes, but I try not to forget the hurdles that I've actively gotten over. And um the main ones are always money based. It's always trying to figure out how to keep yourself afloat while
Mm.
you're moving towards those goals. For me, workshops and conferences and classes, all those things cost money. And it's hard. And I've been super lucky. I'm a little older than a lot of the younger puppeteers on the show, but that being said, I have a family and I have dual income, which is fantastic. And when I moved to Atlanta, I lived with my parents for a little bit, which was fantastic because I was able to. They were able to subsidize me a little bit while I spent what little money I had on trying to close that gap, paying for headshots and uh, paying for like anything my agent needed me to do, pay for the software my agent needed me to pay
Mhm.
for, or classes. Classes was a big thing, and finding out if I could trade some kind of service for classes. So I would go and sweep the floors and mop the floors and take tickets, anything if I can get like free stage time, But
Oh.
yeah, so that's been the biggest one. And I know it stinks that a lot of people who are getting into this are like, how do I do it? And like when
Mhm.
you get on a higher level, like you got to figure out some kind of income generator or something that you can do to make yourself a little something so you can pursue the things you want.
Interesting. And you know what? Money is one of those things that hinder a lot of people from following their dreams, right? And I think a lot of people don't understand that entrepreneurship is definitely not easy. Um, it's not easy, but it's definitely it can be worth it, right? It can be worth it, but you do have to work at it. So
Right.
and you were creative, right? You were creative with how you try to find ways to manage that, which is awesome.
Yeah. No, it's been a good ride, and I'm lucky to have the people come into contact with me. Obviously, I talk about my wife all the time and my parents all the time for the support, but like other people too, artistic directors who I've come into contact with, other actors, older actors, seasoned actors who've come up, and it really helps to get a leg up, or that little foot thing you do when you're trying to get up
Mhm.
on something. Like, hey man, get on my shoulders. So I've had a lot of shoulders offer me some support.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, what has been since you've been on this journey, what has been your biggest blessing, right? What has been the biggest blessing that has come your way since this time?
It honestly is the phone call that I got, or the email that I got years ago, 2015, when I first started coming into contact with Sesame Street. That was after a lot of work. I was sending them videos unsolicited. Don't do that
Mm.
unless they ask you. I'm sending them like auditions and resumes and just trying to make something happen. And it was the moment when I stopped. Honestly, I stopped even like pushing so hard and waited for a moment to come and open up. And then I was just ready. I was like, I've been waiting for that door to open for a long time. I was trying to push it open, but then I saw it open a crack and I went, oh, okay, I can just do it like that. Um,
Interesting.
but since I've been with that company off and on, I'm there a lot. I'm not there now. We're shooting our 54th season right now, and I'm here in Atlanta doing work around. But just that relationship to the people that I've come into contact with have upped my game a lot, and it's
Mhm.
being in line with this company as far as like puppetry is concerned. People they start to open up to you a little bit more, and they start to look to you like this guy must know what he's talking about. Because
Mm.
sometimes it's hard to for people to trust in you and to know that you know what you're talking about. But when you have a big name behind you, sometimes they're like, okay, well let's hear them out at least.
Mhm, mhm. No, I think that's really good. So you think that when you stopped pushing so hard, what was it in that moment that that happened? Um, you know, I'm just curious because a lot of times we push, we push, we push, and sometimes we want stuff super, super bad, and we pushed, and then it still doesn't happen. So, what was it for you in that moment?
Well, and it's happened a couple of times. So there are always patterns in my life, and there are patterns in everyone's life that you just like sometimes you don't notice. But one of the things is you try to change yourself and to be what you think the kind of key will fit in that door. You try like show shapes like maybe this will fit in this key, maybe this will fit in this keyhole, and then you realize that um, even if you get in there, it's not going to sustain you because you're pushing and you're molding yourself sometimes against how it should be,
Mhm.
and nothing that you get without being yourself is going to last. It
Ooh,
just won't. You may succeed for a little bit, but then eventually just
right.
it'll fall. So it was just um I realized that I just need to do what I want to do at this level. And for me, that was making videos. And I went on my honeymoon. I would put a puppet in my bag, and we would go walk around Barbados and make videos. Or we go to New Orleans and make a video in the middle of the street. And we were just like, "Man, this is fine. Maybe it'll get some attention. Maybe it won't. But I'm making stuff, and it feels good." Um, and then
Mhm.
those moments will come to you. And even now, I remind myself because I'm getting to the next level where I'm pitching shows and I'm trying to grab on more characters and increase my role in shows that I'm on. And a lot of times I'm like, "Ah, maybe if I do this, maybe I do this," and I go, I'm just gonna relax, let it come to me, and then when it does come to me, I'm gonna you grab it.
Got
When it gets close, you grab on for dear life, but
right. You're like,
you
what
wait till that moment
the
comes.
hell
It's like, let it come to me. Ah, please let
right.
me.
You're here. You're here.
And those things will, they're waiting for the opportunity, and I'm making sure you prepare for
Ooh,
an opportunity.
I love it. Oh my God, that's so easier. That's so much easier said than done, right?
Yeah. Even for myself saying it, I'm like, oh my God.
Like, do you really? Because I'd be like, I need this thing to be happening. Like, hello, God. I know we had a conversation. You
Right.
are late. And that's just not how it's not how it works. It's just not how it works.
No, it's everything on his time. So I try to remind myself that. And there are times when you're being told to move and you need to move and you need to be aggressive about some things because you're like, this is my time to say I'm being spoken to make those steps. And it's just a matter of figuring out when do I when do I wait and I just get ready and when do I go out.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
No, it really, really is. And so, did you have? Because we're talking about like really paving your unique path, and
Mhm.
I think that the path that you're talking about is definitely unique to yourself. Were you looking at other people at the time? Did you have people role models to even choose from? Because a lot of times when we're out here and we're trying to figure out what to do and what's next for us, we'll see somebody and we'll be like, "That's what I want to do."
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but so were you looking at these people and then realize, I got to figure out my own path?
Yeah, no, when growing up, especially because I mean, taking into effect, I am, I am a black puppeteer, and there
Right.
there were not that many of us coming up, um, and I've met a lot of the older ones now. Like when I grew up, I was always connected to these voices I would hear, so they were always attached to like great puppeteers. Noel McNeil, fantastic puppeteer who I work with sometimes. I love that guy. Kevin Clash, obviously the voice of Elmo
Yeah.
and other things. My gosh, those people watching their work, you're just like, man, they're doing incredible things that I would kill to like figure out how did they do that. And a lot of the times that answer is like, well, that path doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
It's like it used to be a path and now it's changed a lot. So
Yeah.
you got to find out how do you do it, because like
Right.
how boring would it be if I came on if I was like, I saw that he did that, so I did that, and so I am where it's like your story would not be as unique if you walk down the same path. And honestly, it's really hard to walk down someone's same path.
You can't. I mean,
Yeah, it's like it's not.
and what's interesting is, I'm in the world of, self development and personal development and professional development, and we'll have a lot of people who teach, oh, I got the plan, I got a surefire way for you to become successful, and I'm like, no, You don't, but
Yeah,
you might have some tips for me to try out for myself that can help me. But I don't like when people try to give you a guarantee that they have the path for you to be successful, because I think that that's not how life really works. We have to learn how to create our own, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not gonna. I mean, and like I said, like if it's not true to who you are, it's not gonna. I mean, it's not something that's sustainable.
Right.
Um, and it won't feel as good. Like I did this my way, and the way that it happened for me, everything laid out, so it felt like it was something that I was chosen for. It was something that was my steps were ordered. So
Right. Well, speaking of that, right? So understanding that nobody can give us the direct I was gonna say potion. I feel like what have I been watching? I got a I got a 4 and a 5-year-old. I'm about to say direct potion.
the potion.
Potion.
That's how I talk too. The potion. No one has the spells.
Right. I'm like, what the heck?
Where's the magic?
Right, the direct magic, the direct steps. But share with us some tips that we can take to start carving out that path for ourselves.
I will say this is my one good tip, and I think will work for everybody because it's I guess kind of general, so like it'll be very unique to who you are. Is to find yourself mentors, people who
Mm.
and this is not always connected directly to your career. It's like it could be anything. I have a life coach here, Yul Crawford, who I talk to
Good job.
all the time. My God, we don't talk about puppets nearly at all.
Right. Right.
So and you kind of need that. And then when I first got here, I talked to La Prairie Young, who's in tons of movie, Abe Clark, who is a fantastic dancer. He's in tons of stuff. Um, and then Eric Goins, who is on mini screens, Chip Powell. There's like tons of people in this community who they get to know you and they start to figure out what they see in you and what they think like the
Mm.
best path for you. So that's why I say find yourself a mentor, because your mentors are going to be different. They're going to see different things in you and they're going to lay out ideas or paths that will work for you. So it's not necessarily the same. It's not it's not cookie cutter advice, but it's like
Right.
mentors are it's hard to get some mentors because
It
I've
is.
approached people and I've been like, hey man, they're like, I'm really busy. I'm like, cool. Um,
Right.
yeah.
No, I love, 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 love that. First of all, kudos to, coaching, because of course,
Right. That's what I thought of. I was like, okay, coach.
that's the space I sit in, and everything. And I love it because and you really were honest and were spot on about that, because I do think that mentors and coaches, because they can see in you. And I think
Yeah.
that was the operative word that you used. They can see things in you that can say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should do this, because I know your personality. I know your story. I know where you came from. I know where you're trying to go. Maybe you should try this. It might have not been what I've tried, right? But it might work for you. Or it could have been what I've tried, but maybe you can do it a different way. And I think that's so freaking key, right?
Yeah.
That's so key.
It was really interesting too. I had my first coaching session this during pandemic, I think yeah, maybe it was before, I don't remember.
Mm.
Um, but it was he asked me to approach people that I love, so maybe my wife, my father, and then ask them kind of if I wasn't an actor or a puppeteer, what profession would they see me in? And that was
Ooh.
so it was asking people around you like what they see in you as well. And
Yeah.
I got really interesting answers and stuff that I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Like,
Um,
hmm.
because it's really hard to look at yourself. That was one of the hardest. I know in the pre-interview you asked me my superpower, and that's hard to see. It's hard to think about what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't
Yep.
know how Superman feels. Does he feel strong when he's here? Does he feel like I feel regular? Like
Right.
no, dude, you're super strong and you can fly.
Right.
Everyone can't do that.
Right. And sometimes people, you know, have to point it out, because here's the thing about strengths. The reason why sometimes they're not in our forefront is because they are strengths. We're automatically strong in them. We show up from that place.
Hmm.
And so well, a lot of times we'll think it's natural. Like me, I'm a natural communicator. I can connect with people. I'm that person. So I show up and I'm talking and I'm connecting with people, and somebody else like, how do you do that? I'm like, do what? What I do? Like, am I in trouble?
I
Like
did.
what? you know, so I think that because they're our strengths and we can operate in them easily, we think we don't notice them as much. And positive psychology is really all about understanding your strengths, understanding that they are strengths, and continuing to use them more versus always talking about our weaknesses. And so
Right.
I love it that you said that, because I really think that operating from that place is so key.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So we talk about mentors,
Hmm.
right? Finding a mentor to help us pave our unique path. Anything else that we can go out and do to pave our unique path?
Oh, here's my thing, and I think everyone should do this, but I started doing it because I went. This is when I had my firstborn back in like 2015. The Center for Puppetry Arts opened the Jim Henson wing. So Jim Henson cut the ribbon on the Center for Puppetry Arts, which is the largest um, place for puppetry in the world, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And they house all of his retired Muppets. So it would be great because I'd go there and I'd be able to see Hoots, who I do on Sesame now. I'm like, it's here. This is the old Muppet. And sometimes they were like, he's there. We got to borrow his clothes from those puppets. What I'm bringing up is that you get to go inside his office, and in his office he has this little red book where he took notes of everything that happened when he was forming the Muppets and his career. And so this is I think I learned about it before then. I started holding a book. I have a red book too, literally called the Red Book. And I
Wow.
started it to start it in 2012. So in 2012, so it's been a while now, 10 years. Everything that I do, all right, so that's when I first started doing the owl.
Oh my
This with
God.
my
I
son.
love it.
So I put every win that I get, and even the misses, things that happened to me that I really remember, I put in this book. And sometimes it really does take you to go through it at the end of the year and kind of be like, I'm doing a little bit better than I think I'm doing, because I have that problem.
Mm.
Um, all the young Muppeteers and Muppet performers have imposter syndrome because we're walking onto this place where we have these incredible artists with us, and we're just like, I guess I'm one of you now. And
Mm.
I'm sure actors same thing. So it helps to look back at everything you've done and be like, I'm doing okay. I'm not where I want to be right now. Will I ever be where I want to be? Or that's part of being alive, is to push the goalposts farther and farther away. But that's the thing. I think documenting, writing goals, writing successes, failures too, maybe, whatever works for you. But I think documenting and seeing it is really important.
Oh my God. I absolutely love, love, love that, because I mean, the little red book is definitely something that you're going to remember. I was talking to my assistant, Nicole, yesterday, and talking about how I used to write everything in different journals and stuff like that. And she was like, I got 100 journals, right? Like 100 journals. And I said, I moved to digital because I was tired of having all these journals. But I actually like that idea, because the red book is like, okay, there's nothing else that pretty much looks like it. I used to buy journals because they were very, very pretty. But
Right. I'm guilty too.
yeah, but I wouldn't write in all of them, right? I would write in
Right.
some of them, and then I would start and I would stop. But I like that one because, okay, it's like my red book, like this thing is sacred. This is a one of a kind of thing. And if you run out, then maybe you get another red book. I mean,
Yeah, I've already been looking to figure out, like, where did I get this from? I went on a match.
right, right. So you didn't run out and you have that. So I really love that. But I think you said something so important, was that documenting your wins and sometimes your losses, right? Because that's life. right? We're not going to win at everything. But what I've realized is that a lot of times our losses teach me so much, right?
Yeah.
It teaches me direction. It teaches me to be humble. It teaches me to be grounded, and it teaches me to be grateful, right? When I have those losses. And I think documenting that, and like you said, seeing how far I've come, like, dang girl, you done all right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And some losses are cool. And when you think back of it, I mean, if I was to today walk onto a Major League Baseball field and stand on the plate and strike out, I would still feel like, whoa, I actually made it onto just
Right.
to be in that room. You're like, I actually was in a pretty good place. It's cool that I was able to get to this place. Maybe I'll be there again and I'll be more prepared, or maybe
Right.
things will go differently. But I look back at the things that didn't happen and I go, well, that was really cool. Like,
Mhm.
how did I pull that off
Yeah.
even a little bit? So
And no, it's so good because I mean, even out of our pain, some of our most pain, some of our most losses in our life comes really great things out of it, right? Like really good things can come out of those those misses, right?
right,
In
yeah,
our lives. And that's what I look for. I look for the misses in the lesson, right? Whatever it is that didn't work out the way I wanted to, I look for that, the blessings in that, because there's a lot of blessings that can be had. Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so
Look at the, I told you this goes fast.
I was like, oh man, well, look at that.
Yeah, the time is up. So tell everybody what's going on with you right now, and then how can people like get in touch with you?
Oh yeah, man, I got a lot going on, but I'll be brief. Sesame Street introduced Wes and Elijah. They're the father son black puppets that are now on the show. We got tons of videos coming out. We're still doing those on YouTube for Sesame in the communities. You can watch those there. Wonder More is a TV show that we do with for YouTube with In Touch Ministries. It's Christian based, but it's got great characters. It's got a ton of professional performers, and we've just finished our 4th season. We kind of revamped the whole thing. I do fleshy acting
Okay.
every now, so I get to actually just like not put on a puppet, which is
Oh,
also fun. And just act. There's
okay.
tons of stuff, and you can find me on. I'm on Instagram. I'm kind of on Twitter, not really. I'm kind of on TikTok. I use the same handle, which is Chris VS Cap, Chris versus Cap, and that's at Instagram or whatever it is. So you can
Okay.
kind of see me and my children and whatever nonsense and furry stuff I'm working on, which is always fun.
I love it. Now, what characters are you on these shows so that we can notice?
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So for Sesame, which is we're in our 54th season, that'll be coming up probably in November, and then we're shooting it now.
That's
Um
crazy. And the
so
season is a year for you guys, right? A season is a
yeah, we shoot it in a couple months, and then it takes a ton of time to do all the computer stuff. So yeah, but it takes about a year. So a season's about a year.
okay.
So it's been 54 years. I play Hoots the Owl, who's a jazz playing owl. He's been on since I was little. I've watched him growing up. Now I take him over. I play Elijah Walker, who just talked about. For Wonder More, I play Whirly in the newer seasons, and if you're watching, you'll see he's the big furry monster. And I usually have fur all over my clothes from doing Whirly. And then every now and then for social media, I'll also do the Aflac Duck, which is kind of fun. So
Oh,
I'm on that team just for social media stuff. So yeah, so I'm all over the place, which is great, and still trucking away. Still nothing is good enough for me. I'm gonna go mutter to myself after I log off about how I gotta get back to work and I need more. So
well, you know what? You are enough and you've done enough.
thank you. I
You're
appreciate
talking
that.
to the positive psychologist, okay?
Right. No, I love it. You're right. You're
Oh,
doing okay. You're
right.
okay.
You are okay. So what is one thing you want to leave us with today?
Um, I think one of the most important things is just to find those moments to connect with people. And I think that your impact on other people, however the impact is, if you're face to face, like me, if you're seeing the work that they're doing, I want to connect with people and I want to leave something for people to look back and say, like, yeah, that was Chris Hayes. cool, this is what he left to us. This are the connections that we've made, so that people remember it, and it'll inspire them to also make those connections and make things that connect to people. So I think that's important no matter what you do. If you
Oh,
make sandwiches, make a sandwich that they'll remember
make the
forever,
best damn sandwich that you can make.
Right, something that speaks to someone's soul. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
thank
for
you for having me. This is fantastic.
man, it's been so good. I mean, I hope that you all gleaned something from today's show. And if you did, share it. If you didn't, still share it. Because we want to spread the message that we all can, and we all have the ability to pave our own unique path towards achieving our dreams. I invite you to follow Chris on all his social medias and follow me on all social media at Dr. Kiki Ramsey. And if you're a woman who are looking for connection, and looking for balance and happiness in your life, join us over on happywomenlead.com. And until next time, peace.
Hi, y'all.